Keira.
Hello.
Hi, good to see you again.
And you.
I wanted to say you're always superb in these period pieces and
Thank
these
you.
sort of historic roles. Tell me what draws you to these, specific roles and what resonated with you for this part in particular.
I think generally they're just the most interesting characters that I'm offered. And I think with this one in particular, I'd never seen a film specifically set exactly when this is set, which is the direct aftermath of the Second World War. I'd obviously seen a lot of films that are set in the Second World War, but actually a kind of film that's dealing with the kind of question of how do you get over the apocalypse? How do you rebuild something that is so utterly smashed? How do you, as people, overcome such great loss, and the idea that, okay, there was a winning side and there was a losing side, but ultimately if you've lost somebody that you loved, there is no winner in that scenario. How do couples come back together after they've been through tremendous grief? Mm-hmm. I think it's a very grown-up story. I think it's because I think anyone that's been in love and has been through a breakup where suddenly they look at somebody who should be the person who they know the best and they suddenly realise that they don't know them at all. I think that's where this film sits. So I was interested in that idea of redemption, that idea of rebuilding, and the idea of rebuilding nations, mm-hmm. because at this point Germany was rubble. Right. Japan had been blown to smithereens. How did they manage as that generation of people to actually build something up from nothing again? I think that's a kind of an interesting idea.
Right. I mean, you played the part so well. And let's talk about that love scene, because I'm very impressed with your entire body. And
it wasn't mine.
It wasn't?
No.
I was thinking that, actually.
What do you mean you were thinking that?
No, because the nipple scene, I was like,
oh, it wasn't my nipple.
I was like, that doesn't seem like Keira would do that.
No, that wasn't my nipple. I know. I was like, I mean, what a body, though. Didn't you have a wonderful body?
Yeah, because that's
not my body.
I said, wow, I'm so proud of her to have this kind of confidence.
No. I've been through breastfeeding. There's no way I'd do that. Are you kidding? No, but I was, I mean, if you could have a perfect avatar body, I mean, it was pretty good.
That was a terrific scene anyway.
Thanks.
And you've had some really gorgeous and talented leading men. With whom would you say, from all the movies that you've, starred with, have you had the most fun or learned the most from?
Oh, that's a tricky question, but I was very lucky in this one, Alexander and Jason. I've actually worked with Jason before. We played husband and wife before, and nothing good happens when we play husband and wife. I absolutely love working with Jason. I love working with Alexander as well, but I think both of them, Jason I think is one of the most talented actors about, and so it's unbelievably fun. You kind of watch him and you think, well, what are you going to bring? Because it's always unexpected and you never know where it's going to go. So he'd definitely be up there. And as far as Alexander, I mean, he's one of the nicest men in the entire world. So as a partner to kind of, play around with and kind of explore different characters, he's wonderfly giving and he's amazing.
And I just want to ask you about that time period when you took a little time off from acting, and having come out of that and so far now, what would your advice be to other actresses or to your younger self, having been through that period?
Yeah. Oh gosh, I don't know. I think if you need time, you have to take time. I don't think there's any point in trying to continue through something. I think if you need to get your head around stuff, then the only thing to do is to step back, and you have to heal yourself before you can kind of, continue. And maybe you don't continue in the same direction. Maybe you continue in a different direction, and that's okay too. But I don't think there's any failure in doing it. And I think that's the main thing, actually. I think a lot of people think that they've failed if that they admit that they can't cope. And I think that's actually the strongest thing that you can do, because that's the only way that you can move forward, is actually to sit in it and to admit that you're at a point that you can't cope with.
Well, I really admire that, and it's good to see you.
Thank you, and you.